Editor Becky, cut that out.
I'll make a special recording of that.
Shut up.
Hello, welcome to So We're Watching That Right, a podcast where two lesbians bully each other for having the same taste in anime. I'm Becky, scientifically certified best girl.
And I'm Val, everyone's favorite harem protagonist.
We're just going to get right into it, because there's a lot to get through. With Chitose in the Ramune bottle, episode 2, which, a couple of quick details to start with. When Chitose smashed in Kenta's window with the baseball bat, as he was putting the bat down, he apologized to it and called it his partner with the Japanese word aibo, which is a wild choice. I don't know why he has such a relationship with his baseball bat. He's a basketball player, but sure. And so that was my weird catch for the establishing shots for Kenta's room. Do you want to share yours?
I got nerd sniped real fucking hard because this
so good.
This motherfucker is way too into light novels with titles that would resemble things I would read, and then it cuts over to a shot of his shelf where you can see Yui and Yukino from Snafu and Yanami from Makine figures on his top shelf, and I was just like, fuck. Fuck!
And you spotted them instantly as well.
No, it's so bad.
Just pure instinctual pattern recognition. I love you so much. I think these choices speak very well of you, my dear. But we're splitting on this show. Mm-hmm. You're planning to keep watching it, right?
Yeah, if not read ahead entirely.
Yeah. This second episode put me off real hard. And I really want to be careful here that my yuck doesn't hit anybody's yums. Because truly, there's some stuff in this episode that Chitose says to Kenta to kind of get him out of his bubble and get him to consider reintegrating that I think is... One, I think it feels like the work of a writer who is trying to reach people like themselves and pass on advice.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like an attempt to communicate with a younger self in a way that I think is very honest. And I do think that the actual stuff that Chitose says by way of advice to Kenta to stop... his advice to Kenta is stop prejudging all popular people by the standards of popular people who have hurt you in the past, and stop self-sabotaging and refusing to go into situations of social extension because of the risk factor. And I think that's all good advice, and at times it's worded quite powerfully. I really don't want to undercut that. At the same time, there was a machine gun burst in this conversation of stuff I hated and couldn't stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Because they talk a lot about talent, and they talk about talent as if it's a real thing.
Yeah.
As if the difference between Chitose and Kenta is a matter of, birth. Chitose almost gets kind of white man's burdeny about being a popular kid.
Yeah.
And that one I really didn't like. And then when they get Kenta into school, a lot of it is about how to learn how to banter and how to, overcome the sensitivity that Kenta feels when people are bantering around him.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of felt like all the times I was told sticks and stones as a kid.
I get that.
That's a feeling. I want to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are other feelings. I fully understand other people might feel differently on that. This is why I want to frame it so much as this is why I need to step away.
Yeah, this is kind of for you probably the same things. It's for me, there are a lot of reasons I probably would get along with, specifically, I'm in love with the Villainess.
Mm-hmm.
It's isekai, it's yuri, it's really fucking dumb. But there's a specific hang-up that I have relating to a past relationship I had where, the main dynamic resembles it too much to make me comfortable engaging with it.
Yeah.
And I totally get that, a lot of people would go, oh, have you watched or read this? And I'm like, no, it gives me the ick for reasons that I don't really want to get into.
Yeah.
But yeah, this show is, I think it will be, for me, good, but it's also got, someone in our server, Mel, mentioned that people are going oh, we have snafu at home is the description of this.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because I've I'm a Snafu fan, which I don't say about a lot of things.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see the effects that Snafu has had on the light novel industry and the environment of what stories get pushed through and popular. Because the entire fucking thing is about breaking down the divide between quote-unquote loners versus the popular kids.
Yeah.
And in a show that is citing that visually now as something that it is aware of, it feels really... I'm interested to see where it goes, but I'm not 100% certain that it's going to be smart about where it goes.
Yeah.
Which, like, I think this will be valuable for me, if nothing else. I don't know if it will be good. And also, there's another show / light novel called Bottom Tier Character Tomozaki. The premise on that one is the main character is, like, the top Smash player in Japan. He meets up with the second best Smash player who he's rivals with, but has only played online. And she's a hot girl from his school. And she's like, Jesus Christ, dude, you need to, like, treat yourself better and, like, learn how to socialize, because showing up to an important meeting with your, like, rival looking like this,
Yeah.
And basically boot camps him through real basic, like, self-care and social stuff. And basically was just like, you cannot be mad at people who are doing better than you socially when you are not putting any effort in, because this is a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Socializing and, like, relationships with people is effort.
Yeah.
And I can help you, but you have to put in the effort.
Yeah.
And that came up with Kenta, where it's just like, the problem with this one specifically is that I think he was probably doing fine, but he had a bad experience with people who did not treat him respectfully.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the show is ready to reckon with that.
Yeah.
Which is also why it put you off.
Yeah, like, the third thing on my list of things that really put me off, like, so much of it ends up, in this specifically, this episode, in the back half of this episode where Kenta is starting to come back to school, it does a lot of scenes where he's specifically hanging out with the lads, mostly, and they're talking about girls. And you know, Kenta's had this bad experience in the past with a girl who, as he tells it, was leading him on and flirting with him to take advantage of his interest in her to aggravate the guy that she actually wanted to get with. And, like, there is a telling of this sequence of events and this framing of the show that is kind of Jordan Peterson incel shit.
Yeah.
Because the thing it doesn't have, and, like, again, I'm not in the audience for this. I'm 38. I've done my growing past this shit. But one of the things that's been really important to me in doing that is reflecting on how schools are pressure cookers. And when you have a bad experience like that in a school context, not going to school is kind of the only way to not constantly have your face rubbed in it. You know, there's no structural perspective on all the ways that the school as a situation might be contributing to Kenta's difficulties. And yeah, so I am stepping away from Chitose's in the Ramune battle.
I will carry on. I will try and have interesting things to say about it, or at least status updates on whether the vibe has improved.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's giving shades of other things that I know do it's doing infractions what other things have done better, and trying to combine them in a way that I don't know if it works yet.
Yeah.
Because, like, Snafu is like, loners and popular kids are not actually that different. And it did that really successfully. Like, I read a light novel that literally cited it as, like, a huge shift in what they were allowed to, like, write character-wise.
Yeah.
And that's important. And then there's Tomozaki, which is like, hey, don't believe this incel shit about normies.
Yeah.
Like, try harder. I think the line that I will always cite from Snafu, which is, like, episode 1, which is, Yukino goes, it's something like, if you call someone a genius, like, you don't see the amount of work that goes into making that happen, and it's just an excuse to give up.
Yeah. It's like, if you call someone a genius, that's you making excuses for not doing the same work that they've done. Which, yeah, and that, like, I make this argument constantly in my teaching about, like, skills and learning and so on. But yeah, I feel like I will have a better time experiencing this show through how it lands with you.
I hope so.
I mean this with all the love in the world. It feels like a very you show, and I trust you to be a filter between it and me.
Speaking of things that need a filter. This fucking...
So I put My Friend's Little Sister Has It In For Me, episode 3, next to Chitose because I think there is a specific... Like, Aki is a bigger asshole than Chitose.
Mm-hmm.
Aki from Imoza. But because in some ways Mashiro, who has retreated from school life after being bullied a lot, is in quite a similar position to Kenta.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly Aki is kind of much more sensitive. It's much less kind of confrontational and forceful, the way he pries her open. Except for the best gag in this episode. So Aki spends the entire episode trying to get Mashiro to come to a party celebrating her moving in, and also something else. What was the other celebration?
I forget.
There's a couple of things being celebrated.
Oh, it was the update for their game going well.
Right, yes. So Aki is desperately trying to get Mashiro to agree to attend this party, and she wants none of it at all. And it gets to the point where they have a massive fight about it, and she runs off and he chases her, and they end up at the river, and they actually talk. And Aki gets Mashiro to kind of confront the fact that she is reacting out of fear and reflexive self-sabotage in exactly the same way as like how Chitose frames what Kenta's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go back to their building and up onto the landing where their flats all are, and Mashiro's door is open. You know, oh god, has somebody broken in? Has she been robbed? And Aki goes in ahead of her and says, okay, it's safe to come in, you should come in. And she walks in and the party is in there. And she gets a little bit mad about being tricked into going to the party, and also that they're holding it in her apartment. And then Aki reveals that it's actually his apartment. He just made it look like it was hers by putting up a screen across the landing to make it look like the end of the landing.
Yep.
It's such a panto bit. It's so fucking Looney Tunes.
It is literally a Wile E. Coyote bit. It's so good.
And like, I was way more comfortable with the way that this show did it than the way that Chitose did it. And I do, you know, as a piece of self-reflection, I do have to wonder about whether this is just because of gender, right? Is it just something about the fact that the character is a female character in this, and the fact that I respond more positively to female characters in general?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna deny that.
Me shouting, "I will cure my wife's misandry" from the rooftops.
Never!
I won't, but it's funny to say it.
I like Plenty of Boys. The next show on the docket is about a boy, and I love him.
You love boys that could very easily become girls.
We'll get to Cabo in a minute. I don't think so. But we do have to briefly mention the random scene at the supermarket in this where Aki and Iroha are shopping for the party and they're buying snacks. And there's a free samples lady who's handing out these, like, cheesy sausages on sticks, I think.
Yeah, like little samples of cocktail sausages with cheese in them.
Yeah, and I forget how the sequence starts to wind up to this, but it ends up... So, Iroha clearly wants to aeroplane a sausage into Aki's mouth, and he doesn't want that because he doesn't want Iroha's attention. And so she acts offended and hurt by this to force him into apologizing and then begging her to feed him so that she can feel that she's won and also got to feed him, which is good because someone needs to keep him in line.
You would say that.
Aki absolutely deserves Iroha as much as he deserves Mashiro and the teacher.
He doesn't deserve the teacher.
The teacher doesn't deserve what he's doing to her.
This is also true.
Anyway, there's a whole thing running through this episode about the other member of the 05th floor development team who none of them have met in person. And I did correctly guess the identity. It's not very hard.
It's not very hard.
I was so pleased with myself for guessing it, but then you pointed out how obvious it was. I was like, oh, I'm not clever.
No, I mean, it's not supposed to be hard to figure out, like... The thing with light novels is they really don't introduce more characters than they need to most of the time.
Yeah, I know, but I'm so bad at figuring that stuff out. So whenever I get one right, I feel special, and then I'm not.
You're special to me.
Thank you, dear.
I love you.
Patronizing shit.
Look who's fucking talking. Anyway.
I never patronize you. I do lots of things to you, many of them aggravating. I never patronize you.
you should support me on Patreon. Hey, everyone, we have a Patreon. Patronize me with money.
Patreon.com/SlimebookProductions. Hit us up. Get to vote in polls about what we're going to cover next.
Yep.
Anyway, I finally got around to watching the first 2 episodes of Wandance this week.
How many dances were in it?
Sorry, what?
How many dances were in it?
A bunch, eventually.
Not just one, okay.
It took a while. Yeah. No, it's also not like one as in the Japanese onomatopoeia for a dog's bark. It's called Wandance because the girl is called Wanda.
Okay, it's a really dumb portmanteau. I love that.
Yes. This one is also about self-sabotaging out of positive experiences. So, Kabo is a junior high basketball star, and he goes up to high school, and so there's a thing in the establishing stuff that's like, dance has been made a mandatory class in physical education in Japan, apparently in 2012, and he had really bad experiences in dance class where he felt humiliated. Now, that seems to mostly have been in his head. There's a flashback where the teacher took a video of the class doing their dance routine and played it back to them, and they were laughing at it because they do look silly, because that's what happens with, like, junior high dance classes. But he felt as if they were all laughing at him.
Oof.
He is very tall, so he does kind of stand out. But also, he has a stutter, like a really serious stutter.
Oof. That's...
Which, 1, makes him shy, and 2, makes him seem shyer than he is. And he's so uncomfortable with dance that when they're in the, like, club presentation and the dance club go up onto the stage, he has to kind of look away, like stare at his phone. The first 2 episodes kind of play this out and understand this tension in him where he wants to dance. He knows that it's not good for him to be feeling this kind of inhibition, so he wants to kind of get it out, but he's terrified of it, and it really does a good job. This resonates with me. I would love to take a dancing class. I am terrified of ever doing it. But he meets this girl, Wanda, and when he first encounters her, she is dancing like nobody's watching. Also, one of his friends takes like a creep shot video of her and shares it to the group chat, and he falls out with his friends over this. He's a good lad. But eventually, Wanda gives him the courage to go to the dance club, and he's super awkward. They capture the sense of, here are the new first years at the dance club. The dance club are doing their like practice routines and warm-up routines and inviting the first years to stand up and join in, and they're all really reluctant. It's so good at all of that. And it works through getting him over the hump. But also, the club president is a problem, and there's a moment where she notices how close Kabo and Wanda are getting, and she says the magic problems character phrase, yappari omoshiroi, as I thought things are getting interesting. And I love me that character.
You sure do.
Wherever it happens. Some little details. It has absurdly pretty backdrop painting for some reason. Like, the background artist on the show is doing incredible work. Also, the outfit designer, Kabo wears a lot of shirts with writing on. He's got one that says, "Don't throw error." He's got one that's just the word blue in blue text 4 times. And then in the scene where he's kind of mastering the idea of fitting himself into and falling into time with the music, his t-shirt says, "What is time?" But also, when he's actually in the groove and dancing, there's like an effect on the screen that's these little pings going off. And it looks like, you know, if you're playing a rhythm game on your phone, it looks like the pings from where you tap for successful button presses. I almost didn't mention the most important thing. So he has a stutter. They care so much about taking this seriously that they licensed like a minute and a half of Scatman John's music video for the Scatman from 1995 or whenever.
Wow.
To just include in the anime. There's a little bit of narration over parts of it, but it's wild choice.
Yeah.
And like, I am all in on this show. I love it. They do the dancing with 3D mocap, which is the way to do it if you're going to do it. Kind of VTuber technology. And it really shows up all the problems with SI-VIS, which I briefly mentioned. I just watched episode 3. And SI-VIS just has bad animation. The dance animations in this show about a main character who is like a genius natural dancer are worse than the dance animations in Fresh Pretty Cure from 20 years ago.
Rough.
And the fight scenes are just an incoherent mess of visual effects as well. Two details I have to mention. One is that their, like, special forces dance agency thing that they're in is led by a former pro idol who at one point in this brags that she had such good control of her performance that she could control her tears down to 1/10 of a second. And her aide snaps back when she says this and says, yeah, your husband found out about that and now he's not your husband anymore. Which is savage.
Fucking Christ.
But also, this episode 3 was Kyoya's debut as the new, like, lead dancer of the group. And the official date for his debut concert was 4/13.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is no escaping the Homestuck.
Says the woman who deliberately chose 4/13 for our hotel room at least one time in our life.
I did not.
And you'll probably do it again.
I did not.
You'll probably do it again given the time.
I did not deliberately choose. I just noticed and ran with it.
You could have picked another number, I'm pretty sure.
That was They offered me a number and it was 4:13. I didn't challenge it because it was funny, but I did not choose room 413.
Are you saying that through an action you led yourself to be hurt? Can I make a trolley problem out of this?
No!
That was a can, not may. I can, I may not. Anyway.
Banned! Fuck you. I hate you so much. Oh, dear.
I love you.
Speaking of fuck you, I hate you so much, let's talk about Watari-kun's blank is about to collapse, episode 16. This fucking show.
Yeah.
So, at the end of last episode, Yukari made up her mind about something and went to meet up with Watari. And it left off there with Watari thinking, she looks even sexier today than before. And this episode starts and gives every impression that what Yukari did was break up with Watari.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got the school festival coming up. There's a myth about the school festival being cursed where if you do some festival shit with someone, you will marry them within 3 years, regardless of any other circumstances, including if you're dating other people and so on,
mm-hmm.
which is why it's a curse. Again, this is a horror anime, just disguised as a high school comedy. There's a whole bunch of stuff where Tokui is scheming to... Here's the thing. Yukari doesn't think that she's broken up with Watari. I am confused about how she had that impression.
Yeah.
How do you not realize when you've broken up with someone?
Especially after saying the line, I don't think I can be your girlfriend anymore.
Yeah. My only thought there is that maybe she meant, I think I have to be your fiancé? But, like, even that... Whatever. But Tokui is scheming. When Yukari realizes this, Tokui persuades her not to go and tell Watari immediately, but to wait until the festival because of the festival curse. Meanwhile, a rumor gets started about Yukari wanting to ask Tokui out, because Tokui is like a school heartthrob.
Mm-hmm.
And Watari hears of this rumor and...
has a normal one about it.
Well, has an actual normal response to, like, my girlfriend just dumped me and, like, is into this popular guy, right?
Yeah.
Remember, that broke Kenta in Chitose.
More things happened that broke Kenta, but, you know.
Yeah. I'm being a little bit flippant there. But, so, the relationship between Watari and Yukari is incredibly snarled up and unhappy. Meanwhile... Watari is leaning on Satsuki, on her friendship, to help him get through this, while she is, like, making moves on him. And Satsuki identifies correctly that Watari is not over Yukari, and Watari explains that, you know, your first is an important thing, right? Your first girlfriend, you mean.
Mm-hmm.
And Satsuki hears this and goes, well, he didn't sleep with her, so I could be the first one to sleep with him, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so she offers him... not quite no strings sex, but like, hey, if you just want to have sex to know what it's like, I'm available. I'm up for that. And I just, it's very close to an episode from my teens. I don't want to talk about that in any detail. Just know that I've been squirming on the hook of this one for
a couple weeks,
a few days.
Yeah.
He almost takes her up on it. And there is another really good scene of, like, they go to Satsuki's house, and they're talking about how they're going to approach it, he gets nervous, so she closes the curtains because it's easier in the dark. His nerve is still faltering, so Satsuki suggests that they take a bath, and he gets in the bath, and then she goes into the bathroom with him, but doesn't get in the bath. He, kind of balks finally, and he says, no, I need to actually... I want to be in love with the first person I have sex with, basically.
And then she offers, well, if you're that hung up on it, we could start dating.
Yeah. Because
you clearly view dating as, a contract where sex is okay to have.
Yes. And she says, you have until the festival to ask me out. And then I forget the exact wording, but she also makes it very clear that she will say yes if he does.
Either way, my answer is yes.
And in a way, it feels absurd, right? It feels like there's no way kids would do that, but also, again, I feel such resonance with my actual teens in so much of this. It is incredible how real this show is. Anyway, in episode 4 of May I Ask for One Final Thing, this show just rules. I can't recommend watching it enough.
Yeah.
This is the infiltration of the elite secret slave auction. Scarlet is walking around because Leo explains that all the government agents will have to give up their weapons in order to be allowed in, but Scarlet is a weapon, which is true.
Same as any D&D party where the monk is going to have to bail everyone out because they're unarmed.
Well, the monk and the bard, because Prince Julius is also there.
Yeah.
And he cannot stop flirting with Scarlet for a second. And the only saving grace is that when Scarlet does agree to, marry him or whatever, and then later she tells this to Leo, and Leo is just overjoyed that his sister has found a man.
Yep.
Anyway, they're about to get in, all through the first part of this, Scarlet is talking about getting to beat up the Lord who's running the slave auction like she is starving and he is a 4-course meal.
Yep.
And they get to the confrontation, and this Lord is like, ha, you can't beat me. Bring in the giant dog creature, werewolf, whatever it is, beastkin. And this 10-foot-tall wolf boy walks in, and this is a bit daunting even for Scarlet. But Prince Julius's bodyguard ninjas his way out of nowhere to save them from the lycanthrope. And then Scarlet's like, okay, you can fight the lycanthrope, but leave all the humans to me.
Yeah. Note that the lycanthrope is the guy she threw out of the window in the slaver's office.
Oh, is it the same guy?
Yeah.
Right. That makes sense. I don't know why she was so worried then.
Because he's bigger and more annoying now.
Anyway, then she beats the crap out of everyone. And there is an incredible shot. So there's a stereotype shot from, Princess enjoying the ball that is a POV shot of the dance partner as they're twirling around the dance floor of, looking at the princess's face. Mm-hmm. And we get an extended sequence that is that, but every time it pulls back, it is her holding somebody by the ankle and spinning round to throw him into the walls.
Yep. It's really fucking good.
Genius move.
Also, she really turns on the prince's bodyguard.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Lots of people are horny for how violent Scarlet is. Mm-hmm. Possibly people in this call.
Possibly, you say. I wonder who could it be?
Shut up. And then the Lord runs, and there's a dragon on the roof, and the dragon is being ridden by the prince of the neighbouring empire, and the Lord has an arrangement with this guy, thinks he's there to rescue him, and he's not, he's there to kill him. And Scarlet gets into a fight with this prince because she wants to be the one to beat the crap out of this Lord. She beats the crap out of his dragon and then beats the crap out of him, which takes a lot of time because he has, his innate magic is metal, which makes him almost indestructible. So she has to beat him until he gets a concussion so that he will stop coming back. And then she winds up her magic and throws him all the way back to his home country because he's annoyed her so much because he is in love with her for the effectiveness of the beating she's dishing out.
Yep.
Then Scarlet has the Lord exactly where she wants him, and he's trying to do anything to get her to spare him. And he reveals something, which you were spoiled on.
Yeah, because your girlfriend spoiled it.
Mm-hmm. But only for you, because by the time I woke up that morning, you had gotten her to delete the spoiler. So I had no idea what was coming.
Yeah.
Go on, dear.
Well, the princess who displaced Scarlet as the second prince's fiance is a reincarnator. This is an isekai, motherfucker!
It's an isekai where the isekai person is the villain, which is maybe my favorite take on this ever.
There have been other shows where that's the case, but we haven't watched them, so...
Yeah. And not like I was reincarnated as the villainous villain, but
just
like actually
this is a
the
shitty
antagonist
person.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to how that plays out in this show that is like the best D&D campaign ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is what I want from my tabletop experiences.
Yeah, no, I would fuck heavily with a campaign where the big bad was an isekai person who was just doing shit to a world.
Yep.
It'd be really good.
In episode 3 of My Awkward Senpai, Kamigawa and Kanawa are instructed by their boss to organize the welcome party for Kamigawa that is also a congratulatory party for two other people in the office, for someone else in the office who's just got married. They go gift shopping, and they're looking at mugs, and Kanawa drops a mug and it breaks, so Kamigawa buys a pair of the mugs to compensate the store, and then gives her one of them.
Mm-hmm.
They go to a coffee shop on this trip, and Kanawa does the, like, I'm supposed to be the mature one, so I'd better drink black coffee bit. But Kamigawa has already clocked that she has a sweet tooth.
Yep.
Anyway, then they, like, actually do the party, and they at the party, people keep trying to push drinks on both of them. Kanawa doesn't want to drink. She doesn't usually drink very much. But when people start trying to push drinks on Kamigawa, she intervenes to save him from being pushed to drink. But she gets very drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that she's a very cute drunk. And they leave the party early because she's drunk and she needs to go home. They end up sitting in a park talking. Kamigawa does the necessary to get her home safely. But he doesn't have time to get home safely. And he turns up to work the next day in the same clothes, unwashed, smelling a bit. And somebody spots that there is a lipstick stain on his shirt, which Kanawa eventually realizes is because she stumbled into him and got and like her lips came into contact with his shirt while he was helping her into the taxi.
Yeah.
It's adorable. Next week, they're going on a business trip to Okinawa in the middle of Golden Week, which is the most, like, unapologetic rom-com nonsense I've seen in manga.
It's
or
real
the pull
good.
in a hot minute. Like, sure, that's a thing that happens. And then we have to talk about Little Miss Vampire Can't Suck Right, episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
This show is so much. So, it starts with the vampire, Luna.
It was episode 2, by the way.
Was it only episode 2?
Yeah.
Alright, my apologies. It's episode 2. It starts with a shot of her reading. So she's reading a book and snacking, and Otori finds her snacking, which he's trying to get her to stop doing so much. But she says that research made her hungry. And he peels the dust jacket off the book that she's reading, and it's a cool, sexy vampire manga that she's reading as research for her cool persona at school. And in the manga, the vampire sucks blood from people's necks, not their arms, like Luna's been doing with Otori. And so there's a bit about why Luna feels like she can't suck blood from people's necks, which is partly that she's too short to reach Otori's neck. But then they're talking about this, they're in the library and they're talking about this, and they get found by one of the library assistants, Sakuma, who becomes Luna's second mama after Otori. Because this girl just turns people into mamas.
Mm-hmm.
Sakuma is also thrilled at the prospect of having her blood drunk by Luna. They're all so into this. But Sakuma catches glimpses of Ishikawa's cute side, and inadvertently, really, persuades Ishikawa that she can show a little bit of her cute side to the class.
Mm-hmm.
So she's always been like the kind of ice queen type. This makes her wildly popular, and everybody wants to spend time with her and give her gifts and snacks and stuff. And they're all a bit jealous at how close Otori seems to be to her, which he hates, so he hides. And, like, there's a real barrier kind of forming between them because of this new wave of popularity.
Mm-hmm.
But she eventually tracks him down and says, look, I still need you. And to demonstrate this, she bites his neck to prove that she can take that step with him. But she can only do that because she's standing one step higher than him on a set of steps.
Yeah. She is really small.
She's so small. Even when she's not turned small by drinking blood.
Yeah.
It's a very sweet anime.
Mm-hmm.
In Dusk Beyond the End of Time, End of the World, whatever it is, episode 3, we pick up with Akira rescuing Amoru, the slave girl that they were with at the end of the last episode. predictably, Akira then gets into trouble. Yugure rescues them both. And Amoru declares that she wants to LC them, which is this word that maybe means marriage, but might just mean family.
Yeah.
And it is unclear whether Amoru wants to be, like, their daughter or their third.
It was not cleared up by the rest of the episode.
It was not cleared up by the rest of the episode, because the rest of the episode is about a dating festival in the big gay future. And the dating festival is the venue for mob drama, because this show is insane.
It's really
There's a mob
good.
family. It's got 2 remaining children of having all the others having killed each other off. And part of the reason this dating festival is being held is in the hope that these 2 siblings, Fides and Calcrom, they're not full siblings, I think they're half siblings, will find partners, because they need partners to continue on the family. And Amoru and Yugure go to the dating festival, both of them, to prove that their feelings towards Akira are real by not being interested in anyone else at the dating festival.
Yeah.
And then Akira sneaks into the festival to check on them and runs into Fides, the female mob sibling, who decides that she's going to choose him, while Calcrom, the male sibling, is going to choose Yugure, who is drunk. I don't know how an android gets drunk, but she's drunk.
Yeah.
It's so much shenanigans.
There are so many shenanigans. It's also continues to be interesting that Yugure has an attachment to marriage as opposed to an LC. And I don't know how that's going to play out, but I guess we'll see next episode.
Yeah. I still... so much of this show hinges on what else we learn about the definition of LC. Which is very annoying. I would be so much less on edge about that show.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try to whiz through some of these briefer mentions. Yano-kun's Ordinary Days, episode 3. Kyoko is already so cooked about this boy. It's incredible. Dodgeball is a particularly cruel gym lesson to do with a kid like Yano in the class.
Yeah.
Like, Yano is quite athletic. He is surviving by... So, in Dodgeball, or at least in the version of Dodgeball they're playing... If you're hit in the face, that doesn't count as an out. And Yano is staying in the game because every ball that hits him in the face.
Yep.
And Kyoko is really worried because she's on the opposite team, which means that she can't protect Yano. And then it comes down to one-on-one between them. They're the last 2 standing. And Yano basically throws the match to her because probably he's kind of into her already, although he's also clearly oblivious. There's a great scene where Kyoko is like walking down the hall and she sees a couple having a rom-com moment, like just a classic anime rom-com moment. And she worries that her feelings aren't reaching Yano.
Because he just doesn't react to anything.
Yeah. And then Kyoko's walking home from school and she sees what she initially thinks is Yano in plain clothes, but is actually Yano's father, who is exactly the same as him. And Yano's father invites Kyoko to their house, which is, like, child-proofed for safety. In similarly cooked female rom-com protagonist territory is Stop Right in the Sun, episode 3, in which we know that Sae is desperately in love with Koki, and Koki has a crush on someone. We know that Koki's crush is on Sae, but Sae doesn't know that. And this episode is Sae trying to work up the courage to ask Koki about his crush, while Sui schemes to get them set up anyway. The best bit from that is Sui tries to, like, push Sae into Koki as if she stumbled.
Physically.
Like, just physically give her a bump so that she stumbles into Koki. But Sae is so big and strong that she literally just bounces off.
Yo.
Also, they're already on the school trip. Like, they've been at this school for like 3 weeks and they're already on a school trip. But at the end of the episode, Sae does work up the courage to ask Koki about his crush, and Koki has this long monologue about how it's a silly crush and his crush is way out of his league. And it ends with saying, well, I hope your crush feels the same way about you, and good news!
Not exactly subtle here.
Yeah, it's good.
Speaking of not subtle, this girl is a mess.
Yes, so Mangaka's Weirdly Wonderful Workplace, episode 3. We have Futami getting a new assistant, who we don't see on screen yet, but is a cat girl, so she'll be good. We get introduced to a character who is a shogi coach. Like, Futami's manga is about shogi, and so she has this shogi coach who's a consultant. Futami gets dressed up to go and meet with this lady, but I pointed out that her outfit is a strawberry.
Yep.
Like, it's a red skirt with yellow polka dots and a green cardigan. It's goofy. Like, it doesn't look bad.
It doesn't.
But it's a very specific look.
Yeah.
It's like nursery teacher or a kids TV presenter.
Yeah, I also don't know if I would pair that with purple hair.
I would.
I mean, you would. Yes, I know.
Stop trying to eliminate purple hair.
I'm not. Why would I?
Because you have reactions to purple hair.
Anyway,
I have reactions to hot chain-smoking butches.
Yep.
Like, so part of this is a flashback to when Futami got her start working as someone else's assistant, and we get to see that mangaka that she was assistant for, who is a hot chain-smoking butch, and I was immediately dead.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fair. Why's anime got to do this to me? It should be doing this to you.
It's because your strike zone's too wide.
Shut up. My strike zone is very specific.
And very wide.
To this fucking character type. She does look exactly like eldest sister from Mikadono.
Yeah. Kazuki.
Yeah, but grey rather than purple.
Mm-hmm.
In Alma-chan Wants to Be a Family, episode 3, we get introduced to another of my favourite character types, a surly redhead who everyone's scared of, who turns out to have a heart of gold because she has a family of puppies that have all gone astray and she's looking for them, and Alma helps her find them. For some reason, they are all named after, like, movie stars, kind of contemporary male MCU/action movie stars.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is called Chris Pratt.
The Pratt.
Sorry, well, yeah, one of them is called Pratt, and you clocked that when they find Pratt, the dog is being menaced by two much larger dogs, and the shot mimics the famous shot of Chris Pratt in the Jurassic Park movie where he's, like, trying to chill the raptors out,
Yeah.
which is a wild choice. But Alma has made a friend in this girl, Hannah, and so arranges to transfer into Hannah's school and join her class. And there's a very, very strange scene where, like, the headmaster and one of the teachers are discussing Alma's transfer papers and how mysteriously quickly they've emerged, because Alma hacked them into existence overnight.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, they have that conversation in English.
Yeah, it was really bizarre to have that, like, full conversation in English, which was subtitled, and then for some reason, on the day of the episode airing, the rest of the episode just didn't have subtitles.
Yeah.
So we had to come back to it today.
Yes. And then we get, like, Alma's first day at school. Various cute things happen. The big one is that one of her classmates asks her about her parents, and she takes over all the classroom's all the classroom's integrated presentation hardware stuff, including auto-closing curtains, and she runs a presentation about her parents, like a PowerPoint presentation about her parents with video clips of them being dorks, and just roasts them for the state of their relationship without realizing that's what she's doing. But at the end of the presentation, a video of Hannah comes up on the screen, of Hannah, like, cuddling one of the puppies. And Hannah gets mad about her soft side being revealed to the class and is yelling at Alma, like, why did you do this? And Alma explains, well, the video auto-played after the end of the previous one because it's the next video in my important people folder. Which is so good.
And I immediately
Hannah gets
goes,
so embarrassed.
Oh, I'm leaving, bye.
Yeah. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Anyway, there's then a briefer scene at the home where Suzume and Alma have a bath together, and they get out of the bath, and NG notices that Suzume smells nice and is acting weird, and Suzume asks Alma what's up, and she scans him and says, he's mildly aroused. Just reads him for filth, basically.
Yeah.
In 2200 Cat Country, episode 3, we learn that this is a terrible dystopia where cats have to get jobs. They get jobs at a burger joint, and the cat is waiting tables delivering burgers, but has to tell punters to go and get their own drinks because he's too weak to carry the drinks.
So he gets, like, half the order there.
And then the customer has to get up and collect the rest anyway.
Mm-hmm.
In The Dark History of the Reincarnated Villainess, episode 2, this is another show that is sticking very close to its premise for now.
Mm-hmm.
So they get attacked, and her sister, the good princess, gets kidnapped by a monster that's like a werewolf that is going to ravish her, because it turns out that the isekai character, not only was she a toony fantasy light novel writing girl, she was also a monster fucker.
She was going through puberty.
Yeah, Then there's a ball, and she remembers that in her story, it was dancing beautifully at the ball that caused the princess to be recruited by the king to go off on a mission. And she wants to prevent that because she wants to keep her sister out of danger. So she has to intercept all the people who want to dance with her sister.
Mm-hmm.
But then she somehow ends up dancing with Sol, who is the guy who was sent to kill her if she proved to be a threat to the princess, as she does in the books. And she gets very flustered by this because he's very pretty.
Yep.
And then at the end of the ball, she's knackered, so she goes to have a lie down, and the palace catches fire with her in it. And she works out that the story is going to keep trying to reassert itself, trying to put the sister in danger, trying to kill her off because she's supposed to be dead at this point. So I'm sure that will have consequences down the line.
Mm-hmm. Looking forward to those consequences.
Somehow having exactly the same energy is Past the Monster Meat, Milady, episode 3, where we have confirmation that the reason that Melfiera started the whole eating monster meat thing was as a famine response. In order to make monster meat safe to eat, they have to extract magic power from it. The monster that the prince has brought is way more powerful than the monsters that Melfiera has been able to get her hands on previously. So it produces way more magic power, which they're going to have to do something with all that magic power.
Mm-hmm.
But then they've got the monster decontaminated and butchered, and they get hungry before dinner time. And so they start trying to prepare a snack together, and Chaos, who, remember that the prince has an attendant called Chaos Laforgue, never miss an opportunity to mention that, he catches them at it and kind of part parents them, part bullies them into cooking more of the meat than they were planning to, and giving him the first taste, and sharing with all of the prince's men and stuff. He's so good. It's so much fun having him in the show.
Yeah.
But then they eat the meat and it's delicious.
Yep.
Speaking of eating, in This Monster Wants to Eat Me, the pendulum swings more back towards kind of serious stuff. We get a deeper investigation of Hineko's trauma around the death of her family and feeling left behind and wanting to die to rejoin them, but feeling like she's promised them that she will live. So she needs someone else to kill her, which is why she likes that Shiori's planning to eat her. And Shiori is being so kind to Hineko that Hineko is worried that she's not going to eat her in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And Shiori explains more forcefully that she needs Hineko to flourish and to stop wanting to die for her to taste her best. Anyway, they went to the festival together, and the festival gave Hineko a bunch of trauma flashbacks. Hineko had already refused to go to the festival with Miko, who was at the festival and saw Hineko there, and has had a sinister mood about that ever since. But also, at the end of this episode, Miko sees Shiori killing another monster that's hunting Hineko. And normal people can't see the monsters. So, as predicted, Miko has some shit going on. Speaking of some shit going on...
Yeah.
In Hands Off, Sawaranaide Kotesashi-kun, episode 3, we pick up from where we left off, which is Alba trying to seduce Kotesashi. He holds it together with Buddha-like serenity. He is actually represented as the Buddha at one point, but this time he is giving her a massage, and she's naked, except for her panties. The music that plays through this sequence is like, it's a JRPG battle theme. Is what it is.
It is a battle light novel-esque series music choice for this girl trying not to moan.
The girl trying not to moan and Kotesashi trying to hold it together. And because this is a porn anime, and presumably because this presumably is in the manga, Kotesashi starts working on Alba's shoulder. And it shows him manipulating her shoulder by kind of digging his fingers into it, and it frames that as if he is fingering her somewhere else, shall we say. And she responds as if that's what he's doing. And shoulder blades don't work like that, sorry.
They really don't.
That made me so uncomfortable. I was like, please don't do that to my spine ever. That would be horrific.
Editor's note, please do not finger someone's shoulder blade.
Oh, God. Anyway, they are interrupted eventually by one of the other housemates who has come to the room because she heard Alba making lewd noises.
Which is, again, this is all happening in his room.
Yep. She walks in, she sees Alba naked in bed, and Kotesashi kind of on top of her, and says, please continue having sex.
Yep.
Which is a great character introduction. But then she takes some notes in a notepad, because she is obviously some sort of writer, and is probably writing real person fic of her housemates, one way or another, is my assumption.
That's probably true.
Yep. And the episode ends on... You've corrected me here. I thought it was Alba, but you said it's the writer. It's that same character.
Yeah, it's Izumi.
Who has sent Kotesashi a lewd pic.
Of Alba.
Right, yeah. So she's taken a pic of Alba sleeping topless and sent it to Kotesashi and said, come to my room immediately.
Yep, if you're awake, come to my room.
I'm so scared of what that entails for next week.
I'm looking forward to it. It's some nonsense.
It's some nonsense. Some gnonsense?
I knew you were going to do
That's
that.
a stretch. That's a stretch. In Gnosia episode 2, we see the second loop of the game. It still feels... In a way, it feels like this is going to be a hard show to talk about because it's just a bunch of Among Us rounds.
Yep.
I do see what you said last week about it being hard for them to remove the gender stuff outright. Like, it is very gender. But then, they get through the second loop, and the main character is portrayed by a different Gnosia, and it loops again. We start the third loop, and we get 2 new characters who weren't present in previous loops. One of whom is a grey alien, like just a classic Grey Men from Mars alien. And also, the main character gets glomped by a surprise girlfriend. And that's where the episode ends. So, I guess that's fun.
Yup.
In Shimatsu Touring, it continues to very much be its formula. They reach Tokyo in this one. And so, Yoko has messages and memories and photos from her sister, who went to a bike convention at Comiket. Her sister was a big biker. And Yoko doesn't understand what a convention is, and she thinks that Comiket was just a bike museum. So they go to the Comiket building, expecting to find lots of pre-apocalyptic bikes, but it's empty. Except for they find what appears to be a stall left over from a post-apocalyptic Comiket. They find a small stall of independently published manga and stuff. Then they take advantage of the water in Tokyo Bay to go swimming. And somehow there are penguins in Tokyo Bay, and they swim with the penguins as if they're dolphins? That's not a thing.
That's not a thing at all. If the penguins escape from the zoo, sure. They wouldn't stick around, I don't think.
Not, it's too hot in Tokyo. That's bad penguin territory. And it's also, this is happening in the middle of the summer. Anyway, Hero Without a Class, episode 4.
Yeah, so it's honestly more of the same. The main character is just kind of I need to do a bunch of absurd training to get very basic skills that other people have. But once I get them, I'm as good as anyone else. So beat the shit out of me. Literally, the female lead, Reiner, is a power bladesman, so she has the ability Guts. And he's just right. That makes it so, our natural, divine protection lasts longer. What I need you to do is I need you to beat the shit out of me without that up so that my body toughens up and I get the skill. So she does.
Oh my god.
So the thing that I want to comment on Hero Without a Class is, honestly, it's really funny because the first episode, he gets told he's classless, he doesn't have all these skills, and he has a duel with this kid who later turns out to be a girl, Reiner, but he mistakes her for a guy because she's got a really boyish haircut and everything.
Yeah. And
she's a swordsman. And consistently, every time that they've interacted in, the current day, he's just you're really attractive. I would like to spend more time with you. And she's just I don't know what you're fucking talking about. Every single time, he's just yeah, I wouldn't mind getting married to someone like you. And she's no, there's no female charms about me. What are you talking about? And then he stares at her boobs and she still doesn't get it. It's really fucking funny how tense she is.
That sounds like a fun reversal, yes. Okay, let's move on to some older stuff. Ascendance of Bookworm, Season 2, Episode 10 to 12, so the climax of Season 2. we see a full-grown Trombe. So all through this show, there's been this stuff about this plant that if it sprouts anywhere, you have to kill it immediately because otherwise it will grow out of control and it will just suck the life out of the area. We see a full-grown one of these doing exactly that, and a whole wing of the knights have to go into battle against it. And mine is taken along because once it's killed, you need to re-bless the land. They need a powerful priest for that. Mine is powerful. Mine gets to see actual serious workings of magic for the first time, which he's very happy about. But mine is kept back until the end of the operation. 2 knights are set to guard her. One of them decides to be a shit about the fact that mine is a commoner and ends up actually attacking her, which does not go well because her blood has enough magic in it to reinvigorate the Trombe and make it start sprouting and attacking her. And then we get a demonstration of the scale of mine's magic, which is way bigger than any of the knights. And then finally, we catch up to the point from the first scene of the show, which is the head priest tricking Mine into letting him read her mind, because he wants to know where she gets all her power and knowledge from, because it doesn't make sense for a 7-year-old girl to be like this. And so the final episode here is mostly the head priest sifting through Mine's life with her, trying to explain what modern-day Tokyo is like to a guy from a medieval fantasy setting. But it climaxes with one of Mine's memories of her mother. And Mine is very upset about this, obviously, and it eventually, breaks the psychic link between them. And then the head priest says, look, I felt the same stuff that you felt while I was in there. And it felt to me like he was complaining about how Mine's grief over being permanently separated from her mother made him feel bad. And I'm like, buddy, you signed up for this. He's interesting because he's the closest thing Mine's got in the church to an ally, but he's not all good.
Yeah, he definitely has his own agenda going on, which we're moving forward into season 3 starting this week. I have not seen any further than this, so it's going to be all new to me too.
Yeah. In PatLabor the New Files, episodes 6 to 8, these are just 3 funny episodes, which is when PatLabor is at its best. A TV show is hijacked by its mascot character because it's coming to an end and he's the only one who's actually going to be out of a job. This hijacking happens at the studio. One of the corrupt executives running the joint gets them to keep rolling cameras and keep broadcasting as the situation is resolved. He's holding the 2 stars of the show hostage. The plan they eventually hit on to get him out of there is to deliver the ransom, which is 30 million yen or something, in a suitcase, but it's a trick suitcase. And when he takes it, it bursts open, and they have a bunch of people burst into the studio as the money flies everywhere and start fighting over it. And again, PatLabor's great animation strength is really, really simple animation loops of very silly things happening, stretched out to the point of absurdity. And so this money brawl is one smear of a whole bunch of people fighting, just kind of moving slowly back and forth across the stage with a lot of sound effects for a solid minute until the hijacker is just so embarrassed by everything that he gives up. Then there's an episode where something at their base breaks, so they can't take baths at the base anymore, so they decide to go to a bathhouse. And on the way there, they hear that a notorious criminal is in the bathhouse at the moment. So all the guys from the unit go into the bathhouse to try to catch this guy. And the one thing they know is that the bad guy has a trio of moles in his armpit. So they go into the baths, and most of the people who are in there are Yakuza of one kind or another. Or shifty guys, weird guys. So they are trying to work out how to get sight of all the other patrons' armpits. And it just builds and builds with them steadily slightly more pissing off all these other dudes until a full-on brawl breaks out. And the brawl is goofy fun. The best part of it is the men's baths are partitioned from the women's baths, but it's not like a full floor-to-ceiling wall. For some reason, there's a gap at the top of it. And there's a shot from the women's side of the wall. And you know how cartoons will have various clouds of steam or dust and visual effects and stuff flying. So this is happening in a bathhouse. They've all lost their towels. So they've all had center dots over their crotches for most of the scene. And part of what goes flying in this shot is one of the center dots can be seen. It's a really good visual gag. And it gets to the end of the episode and they haven't found the guy. They haven't found somebody with 3 moles in their armpit. And it turns out the final shot is somebody leaving the baths. There's a shot that catches an armpit with 3 moles, and it turns out that the actual identity of the bad guy was a woman. She was in the female half of the baths. Then the third of these episodes, the senior guy of the support tech team, who's an older generation guy, finds porn mags that the tech team have been stashing around the base and goes mad and like starts purging all the porn. And they have hidden porn everywhere in the base. There's a great montage of all these different hiding places for porn, and then it's put in a bonfire and burned, and it does a like communist Stalinist state purge routine.
God.
You know, some of the people in the unit become like the Stasi, hunting down people who are into bad stuff, and some people become like anarchist revolutionaries trying to overthrow them. And there's just factionalism and infighting within the different sides of this conflict. Everything gets completely out of control. But also, it's made very clear that they never fail any part of doing their jobs. So all of this fighting is happening while all their work is still getting done. And, like, the fighting is also slapstick. It's, like, whapping each other with fans and pelting each other with peanuts and stuff. It's very Bugsy Malone.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. It's just, again, taking a joke and running with it. Speaking of taking a joke and running with it, Wise Man's Grandchild, episode 8, starts with Shin, who already is the most powerful magic user maybe ever in this world, deciding that he wants more firepower. And he does some shit with, like, he says, like, oxygen and hydrogen and something else. He doesn't say what the something else is. But he basically creates a Death Star laser. Mm-hmm. It leaves a scar in the landscape like the Sin Beam from Final Fantasy X. Then Org, the prince, asks Shin to give him a teleport spell to the palace, to his home, where we are introduced. They are ambushed together by a very imperious young woman who turns out to be Org's fiancée, Ellie, and a very squeaky young woman who is Org's little sister, May. And Ellie resents being left out of the, like, training trip that Org is on with Shin. Shin wonders if Ellie is worried because Org is surrounded by other women. Ellie says not that, she's worried about how much time he's spending with Shin, which gives May some ideas. Mm-hmm. But Org parlays this into roasting Shin about how he's obviously going to get with Sicilian, and Shin is like, I don't know how she feels about me. And Org is like pushing him to ask and to do something about it. And then they get back to the hot springs, and everyone's in the like lobby of the mansion greeting Ellie and May, who have managed to wrangle getting invited along. And somehow talk turns to raising children. I forget the details.
Yeah, it's something about how the children look similar to their parents.
Yeah.
I truly cannot remember how that line of conversation went.
It builds to Sicilian talking about her and Shin's kids, and then realizing what she said and turning bright pink and running off. And things are awkward for a little bit, and then Shin finds her later, and they get together, and it's lovely, and literally every established character was peeking on them. Like, there are characters who've had exactly one line of dialogue who were peeking on them as they were doing this. And then there's a really cute sequence later where all the kids have a pajama party together. It was just really nice to have a scene of these kids just kind of talking normal teen stuff. Mm-hmm. Then there is City the Animation episodes 8 to 10, which I realised to my horror, I've sort of been misunderstanding this show. It is not a skit show. It's not just doing bits. All of it is ongoing plots. Basically every scene is part of an ongoing plot. And the plots all make sense, it's just that the action through which they are played out is absurd. There's an incredible bit in, I think, episode 8, where it's the police officer character meets a woman, and she smiles at him, and he gets stuck through with a Cupid's arrow, and then pulls it out because he wants to stay true to the girl he's already in love with. And then she smiles at him again, and he's hit with a bunch of other arrows, and he's, like, pulling them out of himself and just throwing them into random strangers. There's just such a good escalation on that kind of idea. There's a bit where some characters are forming a band, and they're debating band names, and every idea they come up with is either lame, they say, some of them are good, but they say they're lame, or already taken. And this builds and builds and builds. And then the male character who's in this group says, well, okay, we could do something with the fact that your birthday is on Obon, the festival. You have an Obon Tanjobi, which becomes from Obon Bon and from Tanjobi Jobi.
No, you can't do that. That's probably actually illegal.
It's so good. Then a character is planning to ask someone out on a date, and so he goes shopping to a boutique. He's like really excited to go to a special shop that's fancy, and he's really shocked at how high the prices are for clothing at boutique shops. And he is persuaded to buy a distressed t-shirt, which is the rattiest, most hideous rag you could ever see, and it costs the same as all the other stuff in the shop, but he buys it anyway and like goes home wearing it to like show it to his family, and his family then style him the rest of the way as a hobo.
Oh no,
as a prank. And he goes to talk to this girl he likes, and somehow this works, and he is next seen walking with her and happily chatting. And there is a bit in this episode. There's a theatre kid, and he does, like, stage shows with his fleet of pets. And he's been after one particular girl to participate in his stage shows, and she finally caves for some reason or other. And all he wants her to do is, like, be the Peach in the Momotaro story. And it's literally just her, basically her on stage, sat behind a like Momotaro Peach heart-shaped thing while he does sound effects and narrates, and it's kind of a rap musical. I truly cannot explain. That's just what's on the thing, and it somehow is very, very funny, and
Good lord.
Speaking of we watched Kimi no Todoke episode 25, the final episode of the first season, which is the climax of the whole thing. Sawako and Kazuhaya are at the shrine on New Year's, doing their like welcoming the New Year ritual. They go through all the motions, and it drags it out, and Yano and Chizu manage to keep them from being interrupted. And I thought that Kazuhaya was going to confess. And I kept thinking that Kazuhaya was going to confess. And I made noise after noise after noise, and they never did. I'm mad.
There's still a season and a half to get through. It's fine.
I know, but I need it.
Yeah.
But I need it to take long as well. Finally, in episode 7 of Scrap Princess, Shannon adopts a, random stray orphan that he finds on a trip into town. She's called Sin. They are called Shin. I don't really know if a gender is ever established, but Shannon and Raquel dote on Sin, and Pacifica gets very jealous of this in a, older sister who has a new younger sister sort of way. And then at the end of the episode, Zephyrus shows up and hands Pacifica a knife and says, I need your help. You need to kill that girl. End of episode. So We're Watching That Right is a project of Slimebook Productions. Intro and outro music is by me, graphics are by Val. You can find us on Blue Sky at slimebook.bsky.social, YouTube at youtube.com/slimebookproductions, Patreon at patreon.com/slimebookproductions. Download all episodes from Listen at slimebook.pro and join our Discord via the link in the description. Thanks for listening, and until next time, may anime neither betray nor disappoint you.